Well, hello folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you, and let's get right on into it. All right, let's pull up the screen here. Ilus. Is Ilus near the buy zone? We're going to go over some revenue and earnings. We're going to talk about mighty Ilus.
And ISIS, dedicated foe of evil, both together in the Shazam ISIS Hour.
That's right, you got both. You got mighty ISIS and you got Shazam, so don't forget that. Anyway, let's talk about mighty Ilus. All right, looking at the chart today, and we're going to come back to this in a minute, but as you see, it's starting to get down here around this support, getting real darn close. And let's see what's going on with it, why it's pulled down a little bit. All right, let's start out with the fact that all penny stocks are pretty much getting hammered and have been for months now. Like I say, there's very few that are doing real well. You've got a lot of things going against it. We're in an off-risk market, meaning people are not interested in risk. And Ilus is kind of a unique bird in that it's actually a profitable company. Most of your penny stocks or your OTC stocks, they're future stocks. They're a business that's looking for the future, where they're going to be in years ahead. And that's Ilus too. But the reality is most of them are losing their butt, and they're going to lose their butt for a while. That's very normal for penny stocks. You know, you're betting on the future. But like I say, Ilus they're in a little bit different boat here. And we're going to take a look at their revenues over the last year and sort of talk about the future of them. All right, I put together a little chart here. Let me get over here out of the way. Anyway, this is a chart for the first 4 quarters in revenue. And of course, you know, they started out really this year, $508,000 in revenue the first quarter, $2.8 million in the second quarter, which was a great increase, 3.1 next quarter. And of course, this is during a lot of the Rona. So this has been a tough time. And this is a mergers and acquisitions company, so they're adding companies as they go. And then last quarter, fourth quarter, they did almost $5 million, just shy. And let's take a look at their profits, which is, like I say, it's odd to talk about profits in a penny stock. All right, based on their quarterly reports, this is what they showed as far as profits: 264, 544. It dropped a little bit in the third quarter, and then it popped way up in the fourth quarter. So they've got some nice profits there, and net income, which is nice to see in this company. Now, besides the obvious good news that they're making money, they're also getting ready to uplist, not to the NASDAQ yet. There's a lot of discussion of that, but the OTCQB, which means they're going to be properly audited, and they're getting pretty close to that. My understanding is that the auditors are actually working on their numbers as we speak. And then on top of it, they're working on plans to lock up common shares to try to move them to the preferred category with some sort of incentives, and they said their lawyers are working on that as well. They want to get those common share numbers down, outstanding shares. Okay, that's what we're really talking about here. And I think they're around 1.22 billion, and they want to get those down to $1 billion or less. And by moving some folks into preferred category, that could help that outstanding share issue. They'd have to be locked up for some period of time for that to really matter, but it sounds like they understand that pretty well. But that makes me much more comfortable that they're getting audited. I like that, especially with the penny stock. You know, understand they're a penny stock for a reason. They're brand new, and I really like JP Backwell, the managing director, and of course the CEO, Nick Link, but I don't know them. You know, it's not like they've been out there for 20 years on the NASDAQ. You know, they're not Elon Musk, who we've known for the last 10 years. But they seem to be very credible people, and they continue to do what they say they're going to do, which, given the fact that it's during the Rona, I think they've done a great job personally. I mean, they overpromise a little bit, and it takes them a little longer to get things done, but they keep acquiring business after business, and they're building those businesses and trying to increase the revenue. And that's really the key to this business, is not only adding a company that has revenue and profit, but to take that existing business, increase the revenue, which will increase the profit. And that's what they're really trying to do. And it seems to me they're on a good path for that. And I'm not going to spend a great deal of time on this because I do in almost every video, but I'll very quickly, we'll talk about the European deal, and we know the first phase is going really well, and they'll be announcing the second phase in probably a number of months, but the first phase is pretty much done based on what JP Backwell has said. The share reduction, we just talked about that. We know they're working on a 9-figure acquisition in the United States, and they actually had a little tweet on electric batteries that I'll show you in a second, We know the uplisting in the NASDAQ, they're trying to do that in 3 to 6 months, according to JP Backwell, no reverse split. The preferred and restricted shares, they're using some of those in acquisitions if needed, and those have a lockup period. And of course, the water mist technology we've talked a lot about, the discussions with Tesla and the Vera drones, we've talked a lot about that too. And on Twitter, this was just a few hours ago, they said excellent progress with a U.S. battery manufacturing company today. The targeted acquisition could be another key asset. Now, I'm assuming they're looking to try to get these batteries for the EV vehicle that they're building, although I wonder if they'd be shipping that from the United States to Serbia, or whether they'd be trying to build those batteries there. It's hard to say right now, but that's interesting that they're looking for batteries because, you know, they are going to be building these EV vehicles in another country. And I would think they would sell really well in Europe, especially for fire and safety. And there's going to be a big need for that over there, given this nasty war that moron had to have, Putin. Now, I could spend all day going over the numerous things this company's working on at all times, but I want to keep this update fairly short, and let's just get into the stock itself. As you can see, I've been talking about adding to my position, but I wanted to buy it at 12 cents, which would be down here at this support, and it's getting real close to it. It's sitting at 13, so if it drops another penny, I will be adding to my position. Now, realize this is a penny stock, so I include that in my 10% portfolio. I only have 10% of my portfolio in penny stocks and 10% in crypto and crypto-related investments. So I'm going to probably add I will definitely add if it drops down to 12 cents. But again, Ilus is becoming a pretty good chunk of my 10%. I'm pretty comfortable with it. And like I said, if it comes down here, I'll just add to my shares. I know there's discussions that it could drop as low as 10 cents, I think is a discussion. If it drops there, I'll just add some more. I'm a big dollar cost average person, and that would be just fine with me. Long term, I like this, and I'm going to show you why. I decided to put this together. I was trying to decide whether or not this is going to become a value stock at some point, because it might. This is their estimated revenues and earnings based on the company assertions that they've made, that they would be with the companies they have acquired somewhere between 35 and 45 billion annually by the fourth quarter. Right now, they're close to 5 billion, so that would be 10 billion for the company. And that doesn't include the European deal and any other acquisitions they might make. But if we just look at that, at 10 million per quarter, and their profit margin that they have, which they're about 15 to 20%. Let me change that. Now they're sitting on a current profit margin. It's probably going to be somewhere between 15 to 20%. So I'm going to lean towards the 15 just to be a little more conservative. And, you know, that's usually the best way to go about it. But taking a 15% profit margin and assuming they hit that 35 to 45 million. And again, this is conjecture on my part. Understand this is conjecture based on the assertions they've made. This is not set in stone, so don't think that. But based on a 15% margin, that would give them a forward PE ratio of, well, you take the 156 million market cap by a $6 million profit based on that, and that'd give you a PE ratio of about 26. And again, this is a forward PE, not a trailing PE, which is what you're used to seeing. This would be a PE based on the fourth quarter forward for 4 quarters. But by that fourth quarter, that forward PE would be about 26. A good value stock is between 15 and 20. So we may be, you know, granted, that's assuming the market cap stayed the same, which I don't think it would. But anyway, that gives you an idea how far you are away from this company at some point being a good value stock. Right now it's making money, so the PE ratio is probably, you know, over 60, okay? But understand it's a penny stock. Normally you don't get any PE ratio with a penny stock. As a matter of fact, you're probably a year or two away or more with virtually every OTC stock. They just, PE ratio is something they can think about in the future. But with this company, it's not, you know, it's not ridiculous to talk about it because they already have one. But again, this is based on their comments and assumptions, and they keep doing what they say they're going to do. So I don't have any reason to necessarily doubt them, but I doubt everything in the OTC. So, you know, that's just me. I'm very cautious. But, you know, I do like to have some risk, and 10% of my portfolio in the OTC doesn't bother me. So anyway, I do like to do a little bit of extra diligence on these type of stocks just to, you know, kind of speculate on where it might be and where it could be in my portfolio. If it moved from the OTC into the NASDAQ or something along those lines, then I could turn that into a value stock investment later, and I could get a little more heavy into it for sure. But as long as it's sitting OTC, then it's going to stay within that 10% for me. Oh, and by the way, let's talk about inflation. Of course, it's way higher than what they thought it was months ago, and I said that over and over. And, you know, we're 8.5%, I think it is. But they said, the stock market actually went up this morning on that because the core was a little bit lower. It was like 0.3 for the month, which would be, 3.6. But here's the reality. If you take out food and energy, okay, then you look at the core. Well, who doesn't eat energy? Can you think of anybody? I mean, how is that not a core item? I understand they fluctuate, but food's not going anywhere and energy's not going anywhere. It's going to stay high as crap. So that didn't make any sense. So of course, then it fell back down when reality hit. But this is actually, for me, a good buying opportunity, because when the market's been kind of plunged the way it has, I like to buy when things are kind of creepy. And I went into heavy cash a few months ago, but now I've been buying the last couple of weeks. I've been buying pretty good chunks. I bought a lot of Facebook and what else did I buy? PayPal and Dropbox. And I'm wanting to buy Ilus. I'm wanting to add to that. I bought them at 11 that was a month or two ago, but I'd like to buy them again at 12. And I'm trying to think who else I bought. Oh, Palantir. Bought some Palantir down in the 10s and 11s. And I don't mind buying it in the 12s, but anyway, that doesn't have anything to do with Ilus, but anyway, that's just what I've been up to. All right, folks, and that's Ilus today. Just wanted to cover it. It's been a few days, and kind of I'll keep my eye on it. And like I said, I think it's getting kind of close to a buy zone for me, but it's your money. You do as you please. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover Ilus. And if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I'd certainly appreciate it. And we'll see you next time on Mr. Frugal Investor.